wait. I gotta say what it is.
Preface.
So the preference is, what do you think would be the context for getting the Natsuki Subaru? And this would be literally the type of shit that I want to record. What would have to be the context for the Natsuki Subaru named chapter in ReZero? And by the way, Rafe is currently at the end of Arc 9 for the... Or sorry, not Arc 9. He's at the end of Arc...
3.
He's only at the end of Arc 5, which is Season 3. He is a mostly anime only. I've only told him a little bit of shit about like the novel. I told him Arc 6 speak,
mainly
but,
the what if stories.
And like a bit about the what if. So he's basically blind. So I'm asking him, for you, what would be the context of us getting a name chapter which is Natsuki Subaru? What would it entail? Go ahead.
Okay, like I was saying, like one, it's either going to probably be like the climax of the final arc, or it would be the very, very last chapter, or like, are they named by volume or chapter?
It's like arc, then like chapters.
Okay, if the chapter is named, it would be the name of the chapter, and that would be the last one before like an epilogue. I think it's more likely to be the climax, where it would be like the summation of his entire character arc, of everything that he has been, everything that like. It would be like the ending of his hero's journey, where you just see everything that he has done, has built up to this moment, and especially if it's the last named character arc, then it would also be able to include all the people. I mean, that would thematically work well, of like, all the named character arcs lead up to his, because all the people that he has met, that have influenced him, that have let him grow as a person, up until that moment, and it would be like the summation of all of their arcs and their influence on him, all of their characters, how they've affected him, all of his story, his backstory. And instead of being like a chapter where you delve into his backstory, it's more of a chapter where you see the person he's become and see now the future that he's going to, as almost like an antithesis to how it is before, where like all the named chapters, or named, well, rather, I mean, I don't fucking know about the named chapters, the named episodes have always really shown...
No, yeah, the name episodes are named chapters.
Okay, well,
yeah.
the named episodes have always shown, like, the backstory of a person. So ending it with doing the opposite of where now you get to see the future, like, you see where the trajectory of his future is going to go, being like, you've already seen my backstory, so the chapter that's named after me, this is going to be you seeing where I'm going to go in the future. You see how I'm going to, like, I've grown. Because watching ReZero, it seems like you see so much of his growth throughout the story, and him maturing as a person, him just really coming into his own.
And it's been really consistent.
Yeah.
Like, even though we only have 3 seasons, I think he has grown significantly in every season so far.
And I think they do a good job of, like, Tappe has done a great job of making it very believable, which a lot of other people get wrong of, like, I mean, I read a lot of webtoons, as you know.
Yeah, of course.
There's so fucking many that there'll be a random moment and people are like, oh my god, that's so much growth. And I'm like, are you real people? Like, have you never fucking gone through anything? It takes a long time for most... Even if there's like a moment in your life that's like a flashpoint that you're like, damn, this really affected me. I'm gonna change because of this. It's not an overnight thing. But ReZero does a very realistic and good job. No, it's not like it's the only thing that does it, but it does a great job of showing, like, it takes time for people to change and grow. And, like, you see that with not just Subaru, even though he's the central focus, all of the other characters, it takes so much time. Like, Wilhelm from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much time has passed in the universe, but, like, Wilhelm from, like, the beginning to Wilhelm end of Season 3, grown as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen through one realization overnight, and he just went, I'm a different person now, I'm mature now. Like, no, he took time, the things that happened to him molded him. He never stopped growing and changing, which is common for people. And then, boom, you see the culmination of that in his episode. Or like the chapter named after him. So for Subaru...
that was in Season 1, too.
Yeah, with White Whale.
Yeah.
So for Subaru, you know, being the central focused character, I think that the chapter after him will be... And this is a little bit of my take, I feel like he still hasn't really fully come into his own. In the sense of, he doesn't do things because sometimes it feels like he doesn't do stuff because it's like what he wants to do, rather what he thinks he wants or has to do.
I understand.
And
that.
so I think that,
and that's partially because of his hero complex.
definitely, and I think that the chapter that will probably be, if I had to guess, at the very, very end, whether it be the climax or the chapter leading into the epilogue, will be him fully realizing and coming into his own of like, okay, long term, what do I want to do? Because he's fucking stuck in Lagunica. Like, he's stuck there, bro. Like, you're there. But he's never once throughout the entirety of at least in the anime ReZero, really considered, or they've never shown, maybe in the novel they've talked about it more, any long-term plans he has after dealing with the witch cult. Like, there's nothing long-term. He doesn't actually have...
His long-term is making Emilia queen.
What does he do after that? There is no... That's what I mean by long-term, of like, he doesn't have... He has a goal, but he has no dream. He has something he wants to do, but he has nothing after that point.
Well, I think that there have been like a few moments that we've seen from the anime to show that he has like a lot of goals. And what I appreciate about a show like ReZero, it's the story, the characters, the writing, the world itself is so fucking well done that they can throw so many moving pieces in. And you can say, like, let's say, like, his goal right now is just getting Emilia queen, right? Like, his overall long-term goal is making her the queen, right? Him making her the king/queen of Lagunica.
Still like a 2-year goal.
Well, like, we don't know how much time needs to pass for them to get there, because, like, right now, like, essentially, season 1 was the start of the royal selection. So now they got to see, like, which camp can perform or do the most for the country to earn like the highest like rating by the people, and be like, all right, you have the most achievements, you have the most accolades, you're the one who, and then like whatever, do a vote, and then you're the one who's going to be like the next ruler. Now, based on that alone though, because I think this is where like you're thinking just about Subaru right now. There are so many people's like dreams, aspirations, and motives that revolve around their respective like candidates getting into power. Like Roswell needing Emilia to get into power so he can do some shit like with the dragon's blood and getting the witch, or like getting greed back. There's other reasons why other candidates want to get it. So it's like, who's to say that just when Subaru gets Emilia into like the king's like spot, that that's the end? Because like there's so much more that entails. Like Emilia, part of what we know about her is she thinks that the only way to be able to wake up everybody from the forest is by becoming queen. But she doesn't even know what she'd have to do after she becomes the king to unthaw everybody. That's just like, okay, if I get to this like goal, Roswell said like I should be able to wake everybody up, but we don't even know how that would work. Now, before we even go deep into just that notion of just her becoming queen, there's still so many little moving parts that like you can get lost in because of how well the characters are written. Such as us seeing in this season, so many people have been greatly affected by the witch cult. I'm gonna say it like right now. This is very like it's very much relevant for going into season 4. Although mostly everyone kind of came out all right in like the different camps, we still have everybody affected by gluttony, and all the gluttonies they all pulled up essentially in this arc, and it was fucking tons of people. We have Julius Julius. We have Julius who doesn't like
well,
no one else.
For me, as an anime only, I still don't know if his checkpoint has changed.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say
like,
anything.
He hasn't died yet,
yeah.
so like for all I fucking know, the trailer I saw in season 4 of Arc 6 completely is fucking with me. Of what you've called Arc 6 completely fucks with me. He dies, starts right back at the beginning of Arc. I don't know, it starts right back in the beginning when all the archbishops attack. That's, for all I know, that could happen.
No, literally anything could. And what I'm trying to like just bring out to the forefront without like over, because like I like to yab about ReZero. Like we like to talk about ReZero. We talk a lot more about ReZero off screen, guys. But the fact that at first gluttony was an issue because he ate Rem's name and memories, made her a sleeping beauty. Subaru didn't have any real leads on gluttony, and before he can even do shit, he got sucked into the sanctuary shit, which was like a whole other story. But I digress. We go into season 3, arc 5, and we see that there's not just one, not two, but there are 3 gluttonies, and they all have different ways of eating. Like Roy Alphard, the one who was fighting Julius and Ricardo, he was more like satiation. He just wanted to eat like whatever, like fucking foul food. Yeah, which is Roy, or sorry, Lai. Lai back in Kato's, he likes to eat those with like the best, like seemingly like the best experiences, the best memories, right? That's why when he ate Krush, he knew Krush was a royal candidate. And he was like, damn, you're like the head of like the Krush Carson family, whatever. Oh, okay. Shit. So you probably know a lot. You probably got some good ass fucking memories. So he ate her memories and not her name. That's why everybody remembered her, but she didn't remember everybody because that was like a gourmet dish to him. But for Rem, this seemingly like no name fucking house servant to be like, yeah, like you may have fucked up Krush, like the head of this like family, but like soon a hero's gonna come who's gonna wipe all of y'all out. And like no one's gonna be able to stop this man. He's the only dude that I love. Like she's hyping this dude up. And so he's like, damn, who you talking about? Oh shit, I mean shit. And so he ate her name and her memories. So no one could try and like follow after her, and she would know he'd know everything that she's experienced. So she could know this hero. That's why like it was so dangerous for Subaru, unbeknownst to him, in season 3, because Roy already knew his name. Or sorry, Lai. So since Lai already knew him, if Subaru encountered any of the gluttonies, they could have like wiped his like name or memories from the world. So putting a little bit more emphasis on that, like it was fortunate and very well written, because all of the side characters who are like the strong supporting characters were like, oh, that's gluttony, we can't let Subaru around him. Not just because of like obvious reasons, like, oh yeah, like, you know, Subaru's gonna flip out if he sees gluttony, but there's a good chance he already knows because he ate someone that everyone else forgot, but Subaru remembered. So it was like, ooh, they already know his name. And that's what happened with Julius, because Roy ate his little brother first. He ate his name and memories. So Julius's little brother is in the same state as Rem right now. And Julius doesn't even know that he had a little brother. That's why, like, the scene when Julius was fighting
his
Roy.
mom was just there, like, Julius's mom's there, like, the fuck is I doing for 9 months?
Yeah, like, bro, why do, like, my last, like, fucking 20, like, I think Julius is, like, 22. I think he's, like, 22 or something. But anyway.
Julius' dad's like, what the fuck type of child support was that?
Bro, like, but, yeah, TLDR on that point, it's just, like, what made it fucked up when Roy was fighting Julius and Ricardo, and he kept saying, like, oh, Nissan, you remember when you picked that apple for me and, like, I hated you for it or some shit? It's like, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, why do you keep calling me big brother, and why do I feel uncomfortable right now? Because he doesn't know that his little brother
is inside.
Yeah, and, like, he's eating his name and memory. So, not, like, Julius was just like Rom. Rom didn't even know that she had a, like, little sister until, like, fucking Subaru took her back to the mansion from Sanctuary. Was like, so this is your little sister. And she's like, the fuck is this blue-haired chick, right? Same energy. And it made it even worse because once Julius got his name eaten, that means even the contract that he had with his quasi-spirits was broken, because they formed a contract with Julius. But now he has no name. He never formed a contract. He doesn't have his spirits anymore. So he's technically no longer a spirit knight. And that's like a bigger implication that's going to be more relevant later, but it's something that you don't really think about in the moment and what the implications were. But I digress. So the fact of the matter is, the witch cult left a very huge impression on the Watergate City Priscilla and every single member of every single royal candidate, like, for the selection. So now they're like, let's turn like half the city into fucking flies, and we don't know how to turn them back. a very large amount of people lost their names, memories, both in the fight with Gluttony, and we don't know where to find that motherfucker at. No one knows what to do to like make amends for the damages to the people that the witch cult caused. They can fix up the city, but there are countless lives that like people are just like, we can't reverse this. So that presents a whole new dilemma now for Subaru, because it's like, dude, Gluttony's been doing too much. We gotta take care of him, right? Like, he would be one of the next villains to really focus on. And it's like, yeah, sure, we have the royal selection, but that's on pause because everybody just got fucked from every like candidate. Like, the candidates each took like a major blow here. Like, everybody took a major blow. So even though we have an idea of what his final goal could be, there is so much shit that happens in between with so many different moving parts that it's like, is this actually the end all be all, or like, will this come sooner than we think, and then there's even more to happen after that? That's like the idea I'm trying to like put in your head for just the direction that it can go. And what I was trying to eventually get to is that there is so much that can and will happen. When you think about it, three of the most important / in my opinion, not that we've gotten them yet, but like the three most important name chapters that we will ever get in the entire series, even if it's not done yet: Natsuki Subaru, Satella, and Emilia. Because we've gotten Emilia's backstory, but we didn't get the name chapter Emilia. Whenever we see an episode that's named after a character, that was when their name chapter came. But we haven't got Subarus, we haven't got Emilias, and we haven't gotten Satellas, despite us seeing 2 of their backstories already. We don't even know who Emilia's parents are. And no spoilers, but like as of Arc 9, we still don't know. Just for perspective, we still don't fucking know. So it's like, there is so much. There's so much to speculate about, talk about, theorize about. There's like, I'm telling you, like, even if you got caught up, you'd be like, ooh, okay, yeah, I see why you say this shit's peak. But there's still so much we don't know. But there's still so much to talk about that, based on how far you are, we can still have these discussions. Because I don't know that much shit either. I know a lot, but like, in the grand scheme, the major questions are still unanswered. And there's not much that is alluded to like real answers for it. We just get closer and closer to what we think is an answer, and then we get like 10, 20, 30 more questions. That's how it's been going so far. So, in your opinion, who do you think's name chapter we should see first out of the 3? First, and who should we see last? Satella, Emilia, and Subaru's.
Subaru has to be last. The things I think about, I feel like you have to go Satella, Emilia, Subaru. Yeah, I'm gonna lock that in. Satella, Emilia, Subaru.
So why do you say Satella first? Do you think like we get hers before like Emilia and Subaru's, based on like,
because if there's a link between Satella and Emilia, which, you know, they've been hinting at, not directly saying, so it's still up in the air if there actually is, if it's just coincidence. I think that it would be weird to do Emilia before Satella, because then you'd kind of be just like telling you what you would say in the next one. So I think Satella's backstory, or Satella's chapter, doesn't have to be your backstory.
Right.
Into Emilia, where Emilia's could, you know, compound on that and show more. Being like, okay, part 1, part 2 potentially, or just like 2 separate stories. I think Subaru's just has to be last. But if you did, so Subaru's is last no matter what. But I think if you did Emilia first, then you get rid of any speculation on potentially what could be the link between her and Satella. But if you do Satella's first, you still leave it open-ended, so that Emilia's story is like up in the air. So because if you did Emilia's first, then it's like, okay, then Satella's, you know, isn't going to link. But if you did Emilia's into Satella's, then it's like, oh, there's so much more possibilities. So I feel like it makes more sense to do Emilia's first, so that when you read it, now you're like, or you read it or you watch it, you're like, damn, there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And then Satellos comes in and answers a lot of those. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some things are meant to not be known. I think that's part of my favorite part of world building, is not knowing. But it being within the sense of like, oh, you can speculate, you'll never know, because it's not important to the story. So I think that would make more sense for Emilia to go into Satella. Subaru's, in my eyes, has to be the ending one, though.
So like, I really...
Like, it has to be the last, either epilogue, climax. His is the one where they, instead of showing you their backstory of how they got there, the whole series is about how he got here. His named chapter, episode, whatever you want to call it, would be, instead of, how did I get here? What am I going to do now? And then you just get to see the culmination of everything he has been through in either a climactic chapter of just like the built experiences, the people he's been around, or you see at the very end, like right before, like the last chapter before you go into an epilogue of just like, he had a goal, now he has a dream. This is not Subaru, person from Earth, that has come into this world. This is Subaru, a citizen. Like, this is him, a person of this world. Instead of just trying to survive and having these relatively short-term goals, this is him as a complete person that knows what he wants to do going forward, even if it isn't something as grand, just like having a family. Like, he has no long-term picture right now. I think that his name chapter would be him just like having either a long-term plan of just like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I want to be, or just the culmination of his entire character arc, which would only make sense at the very end of him fully realizing and coming into his own, who he wants to be, what he wants to do, and then the steps that got him to that point, the experiences that stack on top of each other to build a person as they mature. So he has to be last, in my eyes. It wouldn't make as much sense to be last. Unless there's some... Does Reinhardt have a name chapter? Because I was like, that would be the fucking craziest shit.
Dude, yeah, you can't ask me certain shit because like since I'm into like the flowy conversation, but like I might react to.
Yeah, dude, I was like, the craziest shit would be if you just saw like Natsuki Subaru and you get hype and then you just see next chapter and you're like, damn, and then you just see next chapter, Reinhardt, and you're just like, oh, it's over.
No, I'm telling you, there's
I feel like the moment you just see a name Reinhardt, you're like, it's over.
Like, there's so many name chapters for characters that you have seen based on all these seasons that we have not gotten yet. And I'm like, damn, we still haven't got their name chapter? We still haven't got their name chapter?
Because like, we
still haven't got their name chapter?
All the same vein as Subaru, like, we've seen Reinhardt's backstory pretty much in its entirety. So his name chapter would have to just be something similar to Subaru of like him like, in my eyes, since a lot of the named chapters or named episodes rather, I just call them named chapters.
No, like you can say either one because like the named episodes are the named chapters from the
novel. They correlate. All of them have just really been about the backstory, what has built up to this moment of this person. So for the characters like Reinhardt and Subaru, where we've seen Reinhardt's backstory through Wilhelm and Heinkel. We've seen Subaru's backstory because that's the whole fucking series. Their named chapters have to be very different because, yeah, we know their fucking backstory. It has to either be, in my eyes, a culmination of their character and going forward, but that could be something different. Like,
well, I think you're on the right track.
Like, what if Reinhardt just flips? What if something happens? Who could stop him?
Not even Satella could stop him.
Like, deadass, like...
It'd be like the world versus Reinhardt.
That boy goated. So it's like, honestly, I think it would kind of be... I don't even know what it would be, but it would be a kind of a hard-ass twist if, like, something just went way out of what you expected.
I'm kind of expecting that for, like, REZERO.
Like, just, like, it just takes a turn that, like, you have no idea what's going to happen, but you just know it's gonna take a turn, and you just see like Natsuki Subaru, and then you just see like Reinhardt. Because like, what if? I mean, there's all the. I know you've told me about them, even if I haven't read them, and they'll probably never be animated. Hopefully they will. The what ifs.
I'd be sick of the ifs. Oh.
The what ifs. But like, we still don't. I mean, I know there's a lot of what ifs of Subaru going evil, or like evil, depending on how you view it.
Yeah.
There's still isn't like there's not like a confirmation that won't be this story.
True.
So it'd kind of be dope, and this is just like going like way off the deep end of like
my heart
fan
would
theory.
break.
This would be going way off the deep end of fan theory if Subaru just fucking goes evil, and you just have that chapter Natsuki Subaru, and that's him just flipping. Like maybe you have some crazy after like Emilia Satella, you have some crazy shit that Subaru's just like, okay, fucking like an Aaron Yeager ass moment, like okay, it's me against everyone else, and then the next chapter is just Reinhardt, and it's just like yeah, you thought that shit was sweet, like you thought that shit was sweet. Now things are gonna change because you cannot stop Reinhardt. Unless you do like, the one what if. Reinhardt will cook you.
No, of course, yeah. Like
it's just like
no one can beat Reinhardt.
It's like you are not that guy. He actually is.
He is.
So I think it'd be kind of dope if it was like. I'm trying to think of how you could write it without it being like corny though. Of like, come back from the dark side. Oh, you're letting me. Yeah, it wouldn't be something so shallow. But
we're way beyond like that level of like
shallow
talk, no jutsu, shallow. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of how it would work, but I do think having a Subaru chapter into then Reinhardt would be fucking cold. So, just because you'd have to wonder, why does Reinhardt's have to come next? Because I would just leave. I think that if I were an author and I was going to do that, I don't think I would leave it as a cliffhanger. I think as much as I would announce the chapter list first, just so people would see that, and then have to wait. Rather than being like, chapter, Natsuki Subaru, next, and then you read it and you see like, then you would have context to know why the next chapter might be named this. Just if I were going to do that, I'm not saying it will happen, but if I were going to do that, I would announce a chapter list ahead of time, just so you'd see.
Just to build up the hype.
Because you'd be like, boom, boom, Subaru, and you'd be like, oh, fuck. And then you see, boom, Reinhardt. And you'd go, oh, you'd be like, oh, shit, Subaru's name chapter? Why is Reinhardt's after? You'd want someone, if you were going to do a cliffhanger or like a build-up like that, I think it'd be better to do it ahead of time. Because the moment that someone reads a Subaru chapter, if they saw like, next chapter, and they know that Reinhardt's chapter isn't announced, you can start speculating. But if you just drop them both at the same time and nobody has any context of like, why are the last two chapters of this arc the most important two names in the series? That would, I think, be way more of a build-up and hype, because you have no chance to speculate, because you don't even know what builds up to that point. So you have no context, no speculation, you just have to see it happen. I think that would be dope. But like, I don't know if that's going to be how it happens. Probably Reinhardt's chapter would be... I think that... Yeah, Reinhardt's happening after Subaru's named chapter would be a fucking sick twist. Because that means you know that something crazy is happening. But I think thematically, Subaru's happens at the very end. I think that Reinhardt might not even need a named chapter because I
feel like he's gonna. I feel like he's definitely gonna get one.
He might, but like, we know everything about him. We just know that he is that guy. He is the story. The plot, quote unquote, revolves around what Subaru is doing. But at any given point, whatever Reinhardt does is the most important thing, bar none. He is the main driving. Like, he is like the invisible force driving the plot, because if he is not there, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter more than character development. Because he walks in and he's like, boom, problem solved, I'm that guy. If you've convinced me the main difficulty is just Subaru trying to figure out how do I get him to help me. Whenever he's like, bring in the nuke, he's like, damn, a gun can't solve this. I need a atomic bomb, orbital strike this fucking person right now. I don't know what to do with them. You do with them. I'm out of here. Like,
so based on what you've
call
seen,
it SEAL Team 6.
based on what you've seen up until now for Subaru's character, do you think that there is room for a lot more growth for him as a character?
I mean, I think in general, yeah, always.
So you think that like Subaru can definitely still develop?
I mean, yeah, because I treat the writing of this as I treat, like, I think it's well written and very realistic to the point of people, and it's like, I will always think that a character can keep growing because when would you say a character is done growing? It just means that whoever is saying that, like, if you're able to look at a character and go, they're done growing, they've finished, that just means that you as the reader are more immature. Because
you don't see like ways that they can become like better or grow or develop more.
Yeah, and like mainly the main point of no one is perfect. My parents are old as shit and they're not done growing. And you're telling me that a fucking 18-year-old has finished, as never has anything he needs to do anymore, no more growth he can ever realize, no more experiences he can ever have, no more maturation or realization of himself. No, that's fucking stupid. That's just not how people work. That's not how life works. You are the sum of your experiences. So as long as you're not dead, you have room to grow because you can experience the world more and transform more as a person. I don't think that his growth will ever be done. And by the time the series is over, it still won't be. Because I think they would leave it open-ended. Or not open-ended. Super in the sense of as much as this is a person. As long as they are alive, they will grow. This is just the main part of their... the main part of their story that you get to see. Everything after that, you don't. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Maybe by the time ReZero is finished and Top 8 puts that last chapter in, maybe he has written an entire fucking epilogue that he'll never release. Just for himself. Authors do that type of shit because sometimes it's you have an intention. Like imagine with AOT, you saw the ending. The author told you, this is not the finished story of the world. This is just the part you get to see. If there was an epilogue to it, where you saw everything that you saw after that end credit scene, episodes after that, it would kind of not be the same as just letting you look at it and go, the story goes on, and I don't need to know that. I don't need to know what happens, but the story goes on. The world moves regardless, and that's okay.
I think ReZero shows that like pretty well, that like the world's constantly moving even without Subaru's like interaction or him being there.
Yeah, so I think in the end, like, I hope that they just, they don't just try, I don't think that, the writing isn't shallow and cliche enough to be like, everyone just blatantly glaze Subaru, he's perfect, like, no. He is a person. I think all the characters are written well, or they don't feel like characters, they feel like people, which I've talked to you about, like, how I differentiate that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hopefully by the end of it, there are still flaws, and no matter what, there will be flaws in a person, because nobody can write a perfect person, because that doesn't exist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody that thinks a character is perfect, it's like, no, you just don't understand what's wrong with them. So I think that hopefully that, in the very end, it'll just be more of like one of those looking forward being like, the story isn't done yet. This is just the part you got to see. What happens afterwards is just a part of the world. This is just the part that you got to see. And I kind of love those types of stories because I think that it leaves you a lot more... It leaves a lot more love for the world and the story of, like, you don't need to see everything. You don't need to be a part of everything. This is what you get. Take it, enjoy it, love it. I put my soul into this. the story will continue just with them. You can imagine what you want, because anything that someone writes for an epilogue will never be able to satisfy everyone, and even for an ending. But leaving it of just like, this is just the part of the story you got to see. What happens after isn't your business.
I do want to briefly touch on that, and then like I want to circle back to the other point for like Subaru's development, because like those are like that's like one of the main things I want to talk about. But like to piggyback off of like the world constantly moving thing, like with the epilogue. So there's a lot of like they've been published to a degree, but there's a lot of side stories that Tape wrote that aren't like in novel form for us like American readers and shit. But there's a lot of stuff that's in like online for the Japanese readers, and they're like, I'd say it is like the most interesting, like filler-esque content that is canon shit that happens in between major events in the story. In the same way where the after each episode of ReZero, we'll have like a break time episode that'll explain more shit in detail, but it's actually canon because it actually happened. Those little break times are inspired by / directly taken from side stories that we haven't seen. And one of the examples that like I told you about like a good minute ago was when I was just casually looking on this like YouTube channel that had a lot of the novels, like the audiobooks, and it had a series of side stories. And I read some of the side stories, and one of them that I was reading, like a couple chapters, was about what happened when Subaru first like met Emilia Reinhardt in the loot house, and like when Reinhardt beat Elsa, and what happened in between him passing out and Emilia healing him to him waking up in the first day of the mansion. Like there was a side story that literally explained what happened, and like in between while he was unconscious, but it foreshadowed not just the events of season like 1 and like the rest of arc 2, but it foreshadowed shit from like fucking arc 4, and specifically how as soon as Emilia was like getting back, something that he didn't show in the anime was that Emilia actually went to the capital with Rom, but they got separated, and that's why Emilia got her insignia stolen, because she wasn't with Rom. Rom was supposed to be bodyguarding her and watching over her. Something happened involving like Roswell where they got separated. Whole Elsa shit, right? But like the whole point of that was like when they got back to the mansion really late at night, because that's when they had healed Subaru enough to carry him. When they got back, it was just Emilia and Rom. As soon as they burst through the door, you just get the perspective of Beatrice. Like she's just in the library. We don't even know who. We know who Beatrice is by the time we're reading it, but like at the time, the way that they're explaining is like, oh, like yeah, this like spirit who like houses like the Forbidden Library or whatever. She's just sitting here like, oh man, like it seems like that like half devils come back, and it's giving you more perspective on Bayako and how she feels about Emilia at the start of arc 1. She's still looking at her as like, oh, she's a half devil, not even like a half elf, but she says half devil. Oh, and like she's come back with like the pink haired maid, and like, oh well, it was none of my concern. And then it shows the perspective of like her being annoyed because she's like, oh, I know that like the blue-haired maid's looking for me right now because she keeps opening up these doors, and eventually she says like, hey, Lady Beatrice, like we actually need your help. We have like this visitor, and we like need your healing powers because like no one else can heal him. And so Beatrice, like she's like kind of like yapping like, yeah, I don't want to fucking heal him. Like I don't have any obligation. Long story short, Rem says some shit that says like basically like Roswell like really like wanted you to do this, like, and she's like, oh, just because you say Roswell wants me to do it, you think I'm gonna do it? I don't even like him, basically. And so she eventually coaxes her to like go and heal him, and she goes and like she heals Subaru's fatal wounds. That's how he survives. But the thing is, as soon as he came in, he could tell that she could tell that Subaru, even while unconscious, not only had an affinity for spirits, but his element was yang magic, which is the same as Beatrice's, which is extremely rare. So in this short, like little side story, we're getting how they were building up the contract and relationship between Subaru and Beatrice before it even happened in a whole season later. And that's just one example. of how the side stories that we don't get to see in the light novel format, he's written so much shit. There's so much shit written that isn't like the main plot, but it builds and adds to it in a way where it's like this world's been moving the whole time. It's just that Subaru was only here, there at these specific times, which I think is really fucking cool. So that's
like something similar is in like Game of Thrones, where like where you see shit where it's like other people have been making their moves even if you haven't seen them on screen because the world keeps moving. Shit's going down even if you aren't seeing it. The books go way into depth, but even in them, it's like you're only seeing things from the perspective of the characters you're watching or you're reading. So like when you're watching Thrones, like cool, you're watching like Jon Snow on this expedition. Yeah, but like that was like 2 or 3 weeks. And the next time you see a character, it's not what they were doing during those 2 or 3 weeks. It's what they're like now after the fact. The timeline stays very consistent. They never do flashbacks. And if you've noticed in Thrones, there is not a single flashback in the entire
which
series.
I like.
It just keeps going forward. So it's like when you see a character and what they're up to, you don't
it's
know.
expecting you to like kind of stay in tune with what everyone's doing and what the implications of what they're doing means.
Because you don't know, because they never really tell you like a time frame. So it's like you don't know if these two characters are doing these things separately, like across like in Essos and Westeros at the same time, or if they were doing this for 2 months and now this is what Arya is doing after those 2 months, or are they doing it at the same time? You don't know because the world keeps moving. So it's like you kind of just have to be like, shit's going down everywhere no matter what. So like, it doesn't really matter what the time scale is because like at the end of the day, this is what's happened. Maybe they were doing things separately at the same time. Maybe it's like, damn, Sansa was getting fucking shit on and living the worst possible life for those months with Ramsay and Joffrey. And that was happening at the same time. Yeah, or at the same time of Arya's training, or she came after. Like, you don't know, and it doesn't really matter because you just have to realize that everything keeps going without, even if you're viewing a story at any given point from like a few perspectives, like the characters involved in the storyline or arc that you're watching. And I think that ReZero does a great job of it. Of like, no, like other people are doing shit.
Yeah,
like. I think that I kind of hate it in anime. I think that ReZero avoids it well, of like those like really cheap cliffhangers where it's like, cut to like an antagonistic force being like, they don't know that we have our secret weapon, and it's like, dog, like if you were in the privacy of your own time and you're just going, our hidden weapon, like no.
That's not realistic.
You're saying that for the plot. You'd be like, instead you'd be like, they don't know. We have a nuclear bomb.
It's like they do a lot more showing than telling, like with the fake fucking bullshit narration.
Yeah, show, don't tell, and those cheap cuts to an antagonistic force hinting at some bullshit where it's like, dog, if they're fucking alone, they're probably not gonna say our secret weapon. They don't know that we also have this. They're just like, if I'm for some reason talking to myself as a villain, one, you already know you're cooked. Right. 2, you wouldn't be like, they don't know we have this. You'd probably be like, okay, they don't know that we have, and then you'd name like if you're thinking to yourself, you wouldn't allude to something. You'd just fucking say it.
Yeah.
Like, and ReZero I think does a good job of like, there's no real cheap cliffhangers of them cutting to just a villain being like, well, the main character doesn't know about this secret weapon we don't have because that's fucking cringe and not real. Like, that's stupid. No one fucking does that. And you can say, oh, it's an anime, it's a fantasy setting. Why would they mention what weapons they have? Dog, like, if they're fucking talking to themselves, you think everyone working on the Manhattan Project wasn't like, Japan doesn't know we have a nuclear bomb. They were thinking that. They weren't thinking, they don't know about our secret weapon. No, bro, they don't know we have a fucking nuke. See, like, no one thinks in those cliffhangery bullshit values of, they don't know about this.
I don't know, like,
I like that ReZero avoids that because it's so much more like, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
fucking hell. Like, I don't want to
just
fucking
hits
see
way,
that dumb
way
shit.
better. Yeah, it's
Like-
less. It's not cringe and like, I fucking oh my god, one of my favorite fucking moments from ReZero. Oh, you just gonna crack it now?
Yeah, no, it's been like an hour.
I was gonna wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Well, like one of my favorite. Oh my god, one of my favorite fucking reveals in all of anything that I fucking read, right, is it's so I don't know the term for the opposite of what you're talking about with like the whole like cheap like easy like, oh, they don't know that I have this, but it's when you allude to something in a way that
Proper
it's like
build up and foreshadowing.
yeah, without like outwardly saying that you like know what this thing is
I
or
think
what.
it's just well done foreshadowing in writing, which is what a lot of writers don't have. But
And what that scene for me was, what this was for me, this was like this was easily the most fucking crazy reveal that I've seen like fucking anywhere, right?
oh, when they tell you that Subaru is gay.
He's a fucking but like
Like,
no,
you know, they tell you
but
that
specifically.
I mean, I remember you mentioning this to me about like arc 8, where they mentioned that Subaru is gay and Emilia. He's Emilia's GBF actually.
So
he actually has no feelings for Emilia or Rem. He's trying to fuck Otto.
So
and
what I'm
damn,
talking
that's
about?
Crazy.
One of my favorite reveals in all of fiction, like in ReZero, obviously, right, was the way they did it was so diabolical. So Subaru fucks up in arc 4, and everything is getting consumed by Satella. The entire sanctuary is getting consumed by Satella. And then you see, like, you know, everything kind of like going up in smoke, like literally going up in fucking shadows. And then all you see, one of my favorite moments in ReZero, easily one of my favorite moments in ReZero, but there's too many. All you see is Roswell sitting in his fucking bed with all the bandages on, just holding a book. And he's like, if you wish to walk through hell, I will accompany you through hell. If you wish to live through hell, I will be there every step of the way. Try not to make a mistake next time, Natsuki Subaru. And then it just fades. You finding out that Roswell knows about Return by Death is the craziest fucking reveal. It like one of the craziest reveals in ReZero. Just knowing that he's like known this whole time, it's like, oh, don't make a mistake next time. And it's not saying like, oh my god, Subaru fucked up, he has to return by death.
But it's telling you another
like,
character knows.
He's like, and no one else, like they've shown, like other than like Ekirona, is like aware of this. So he's just sitting there, and the way he says it, it's not like it's being overly in your face. He's sitting there chilling like, oh,
this
okay.
makes you want to mention something about fucking ORV, but I can't because you haven't read it yet.
Well, bro, like that reveal, like, and like this was even bigger of a reveal to me than like realizing that Roswell like set everything up in season 1, like, or pretty much, yeah, he was like the one who orchestrated all of the events in season 1. The fact that this motherfucker, he not only just did that because he just thought Subaru can just handle it. It was like, no, here's why I set everything up like this in season 1 for him to be put in these very tough situations, because he knew from the beginning that he can return by death. He knew from the very start. And the way that they showed you is saying like, not Subaru's gonna have to return by death again.
It's just him getting fucking killed.
It was just him saying like, oh, you want to live through hell?
I'll
You choosing the hard way? Oh, okay, I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
Just don't make a mistake next time. Natsuki Subaru, like next time, and he just lets himself die, like knowing that his soul doesn't reset. It's just it's gonna be a new Roswell with the same energy.
He just figured it out already.
Yeah, he's been known. He's known since season 1.
So it's like he knows.
Yeah,
Dude,
so,
I wish I could mention some shit about ORV to you. Like you need to read it. Also, with the new shit that's, I mean, I don't know, this probably will never get posted as much as it will just be like for like talking points, but okay, for reference is April 9th, 2 a.m. 2025. Okay, I know you don't care about Chainsaw Man spoilers.
Let's keep it on ReZero for now, because like I'm gonna post this. I'm actually gonna post this.
Because like there's some other shit, but like the latest couple of chapters have just been a whirlwind of like Fujimoto, you motherfucker.
Okay, we can wrap it up just so
Man,
I can be able to post
wish
this.
I could talk to
but
you about ORV because you haven't read it yet. But there's
I just
similar.
mean wrap up the video.
Yeah, no, but there's similar shit of there are things in the very beginning. There are subtle things that even now are still not explained. In the novel, they probably are just because the novel's finished. But there's so many details, and you find out about them so far in, where it'll be you find out a hint about something every 50 chapters. Or there'll be one of the biggest, it wasn't emphasized as a plot twist when it happened, but for someone that pays attention to the story, you just go, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's they casually just drop in, you're sort of no! Hold on! You can't just do that. This changes everything. This changes so much, and this calls into question so much that I thought I knew. And I don't know if I'll even ever get an answer to it.
Okay, so
I don't think I'll even get I don't even think I'll ever get the name of some of the characters in ORV. There are still characters that you don't know the name of. And I don't know if you ever will find out their name.
That's good. But I don't get too into only because this is mostly a ReZero discussion. I don't want to spoil stuff for somebody watches it who's starting or something else that we're talking about. Cause I'm just gonna end it with the last thing about Subaru's name chapter. Because we can just stop it and then just keep talking because I just don't want to potentially spoil people.
When they leaked that Subaru likes BBC, I was fucking shocked. I was I thought he liked Emilia. I thought he was
what I wanted to get to
was
that
straight.
Season 1 of ReZero, Subaru was very, very flawed. Very, very scuffed character. Still very flawed, yeah. And it's in Season 1, we were just now, the top 8 was breaking the ice to how fucked up ReZero could be, right? It was showing how, this is a fucked up character in a fucked up world with a lot of fucked up shit going on, and how
crash course.
Yeah, and it was whoa, Season 1 there was a lot of shit, right? And so we get to the point where the From Zero episode where he kind of gets that reawakening to a degree. So it's he's trying to okay, wait, I'm thinking more so for everybody instead of just myself, and that was a step in his development. So we're all right, cool. He goes out, he fucking defeats the white whale without many. Actually, he did it on his first fucking loop of the white whale fight, which was crazy. So he didn't even take multiple loops to beat the white whale in the actual fight. Then he goes fights Juice. Sure, that's it had a lot of scuffs moments, but he ends up beating Juice. Gets his own development with Wilhelm with the whole all right, knowing how to be strong instead of get stronger, that type of mentality. But by the end of Season 1, we were damn, okay, he got some nice development. Still got a ways to go, but he developed. The mindset that he went into Season 2 with was damn, alright, so you lost Rem in the first fucking episode. That was your fucking rock. You love her just basically as much as you love Emilia. Problematic that you lost her. God damn. It's basically like losing Emilia 2.0, but you can't reverse it. So, fuck. And you're going into this new situation, this new space, where you're figuring out all this new lore, and you never knew anything about this shit to begin with. Super crazy psychological mindfuck. Season 2 right now is my favorite season, until Season 4. But it's just too much to happen in Season 4. But him getting over the idea of sacrificing himself and losing his humanity just to be able to save everyone, not valuing his life, that was a really big point, because it's one of the main criticisms people had for Subaru, in Season 1, oh, if this goes wrong, just fucking kill yourself, bro. We saw what that would look like in Season 2, where he was going into loops, basically saying oh, this person died, oh, I lost my eye, oh, I lost my leg or some shit, oh, well, I wonder how far I go in this one. I guess I just get more info for the next one. That's literally the mindset that he was in, showing that he had some development, but not enough to focus on certain things. Moving on to season 3. In season 3, Subaru only dies 3 times. That is the least amount of times he's died
In a season.
in a season.
He's had more than that in an episode. Like,
Yeah. So it's like,
I mean, he was watching Emilia. He was watching his bitch die on repeat. Like,
yeah. So it's like us seeing Subaru in season 3. It's like, damn, wait, bro, really? Like, he got stronger. He made a contract with Banco, so he's like a lot stronger as far as like what he can do, and even physically, he's really strong by himself. He's made better close personal relationships with the different royal candidates and their knights and their subordinates. So, because like now he's a knight, he's someone that the country looks up to as like a hero. They're like, yo, dude, you're a good guy. Like, you did great shit for us. Not only that, but he was able to deliver the peak speech. He gave the peak speech. Speech was fucking amazing. That, in a lot of ways, was really like, in a lot of ways, the epitome of his growth up until that point. Not saying that he doesn't have any more room for growth, but that really solidified that like this character has come a long way, right? Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up and why I want to relate this to, or piggyback off what you said about when we get his name chapter, is you said something to the extent of it would have to be the culmination of his character, right? It would have to be everything he's built up, the antithesis of his character, since we already know his backstory.
Not the antithesis. It would be, because the antithesis is the opposite.
Oh, right.
It would be the antithesis of a named chapter, where the named chapters are usually about their past, and this would be about him and his future.
Yeah.
Like, who he is going to be moving forward. I also think, I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, but like, in regards to Subaru's character, like, I think it's interesting because, so he was flawed in the beginning, right? Very clearly. But he was flawed in the sense of, like, anime, media flawed.
Mm.
You know, it's obvious what mistakes he's making, they highlight them. I think now, though, he is not perfect. No one can be. He is still a flawed person, but in ways that are a lot more mature. And he's also, which is something that a lot of people that even fucking watch anime, a lot of people in general can't realize, is he's cognizant of the fact that he's not perfect. Because no one can be. And so, I think that, you know, it's a major step in a lot of people's growths in general, in real life, and in fiction. I mean, the fiction is just about writing it well. But, like, the actual realization of, like, I'm not right. I'm not correct. Like, I'm wrong about me thinking this way. I am, like, a lot of people can say, it's very easy to say that you're not perfect, that you have flaws, but it's a lot harder to say and realize what those exact things you're flawed about are and calling yourself out on them. And he's kind of in that middle phase of, like, you know, that growth of a person, which is, okay, you went from being super immature, just arrogant, uninformed, ignorant of the world he was in.
Very much.
And stubborn, annoying, you know, growing out of that. And he's not perfect. I mean, again, I've repeated it like 5 fucking different times now. Like, no one is. But he's matured a lot. And now he's imperfect and flawed in ways that are much more mature and realistic, but are also a lot
more nuanced.
Yeah, they're nuanced, but it's also, I think, harder for probably, I mean, I don't know, fucking the demographic and age range of people that watch ReZero.
Yeah,
I think probably for the younger audience won't recognize it. Yeah. Of, like, you know, a lot of people think that the protagonist is always right, but a big part of media literacy and good writing is realizing that the protagonist is not. And they're not going to make it obvious for you. It's just a decision that you should be able to look at and realize that's not right. And I think that he, even in season 3, he made some of those, but it's like, so would anybody.
Yeah, and we see how, like,
it's like anybody would make those mistakes, because in the moment you're not realizing, like, it's easy to view something and go,
in hindsight, yeah.
It's like, it's easy for someone to be like, oh, look at what you did. Well, you could have done this. Well, yeah, you're out in the fucking moment. Like, most people have been in a high-stress scenario at least once. and you probably didn't do the most fucking optimal perfect thing. You made a mistake. And I think that it makes it a lot more relatable and interesting knowing that when he's put in these scenarios, yeah, he might make the not perfect 100% optimal Sigma fucking dope ass guy, like cold ass decision. Well, yeah, like that's not what a fucking adult does. It's not what a person does.
And I like
and
how
so his mistakes carry
season,
on, but in the moment, it was the best he could do given the situation. Like,
no, given season 3, like it was like it's literally what you're saying. He only died 3 times.
that's what I'm saying
like,
about season 3.
He made it so far.
Like, there are lasting
without
effects.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, technically, if he knew everything else that was happening, he could have done this. But it's like me telling someone that fucking you were in a car crash. You saw a car coming at you, and you swerved at the last second because that's all you realized you could do in the moment of panic. Well, why didn't you just move 20 feet to the right ahead of time? Well, dickhead, like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I just saw the situation and reacted as best I could.
And that's literally what he did in season 3.
And it's not perfect.
Well, not like
but it's
sacrificing
the best.
everybody.
Yeah, it's like, it's not perfect, but it's the best you can do. And sometimes that just has to be enough. And and I think that they do a good job of, like,
fairy tale ending every time.
Yeah, I think that ReZero does a good job of, like, iterating that realistic sentiment of, like, sometimes it's not about a perfect solution. It's just about the best that you can do and accepting that. Like, you know, quoting...
Well, I got a topic for, like, the next
like, quoting Arcane, like, sometimes to move forward... I'm not even quoting Arcane. Fuck, you quoting Echo, my goat. You know, to move forward, you gotta give things up. And so I think ReZero does a good job of, which is just a sentiment of maturity of, like, yeah, you can't have everything. You can't have everything. There is never actually a perfect solution. And if you ever read something and go, there was a perfect solution, good job. You've understood the point of fiction. But I think I think that good fiction is about adopting the reality of a situation and applying it to these fantastical scenarios where it's like, yeah,
absolutely.
There isn't a perfect solution. There isn't a right answer. There's just the best you can do. There's acknowledging it, and then as a person growing and maturing, and it comes up to a certain point, which I mean, I think is the folly of a lot of, mainly Asian media, is the reader base tends to be a lot of people. Incels. No, definitely a lot of incels. But a lot of people, and...
No, I'm not talking shit. I'm not talking shit about Asians at all.
No, but I mean, I think the main viewer base...
People in general.
I'm talking about, like, the viewer base of Asian media, which is global.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, a lot of it is the fact that the people that are reading it are less mature than the author. And then there's there's this juxtaposition of, like, the author trying to cater for these immature readers, but also, like, if you're an author, you want to make the best thing you can. Right. These immature readers not understanding that, like, this, if you want a good story, the character will probably be more mature than you if you can't understand why they would feel emotion. Like, I've seen so many comments in, like, a lot of webtoons, a lot of less so in manga, more so in manhwa, which is Korean stuff, of, like, readers that will just be like, why did the main character cry here? And it's like, well, are you a fucking person? Like why would they not? Like, have you never felt like,
I saw some
shit like if
that,
you're saying that, you're feeling the emotion of anger. So you can feel emotion, so I know that you definitely are a bitch. Like, you can't feel the emotion of, if you've never cared about something enough, something enough to be moved to tears about it, and then you're looking at it, you're reading the story, you're trying to get immersed, and you see a character care about something to the point where they're emotional about it, and you go, this isn't my fucking...
why are they crying?
Yeah, this isn't my, Sigma edgelord,
Dude,
super cool fucking American psycho god.
I saw some people saying something about how,
I can't project.
They couldn't understand why, like, Jinwoo was crying when his mom woke up, like, what?
And that's solo leveling.
Like,
That's like the bottom of the barrel
that's
of like.
basic as fuck. It was like,
That's like the most basic
bro's
fucking.
been fighting for his fucking life to get his fucking mom back. That's do y'all forget that's the reason why he's been doing all this shit?
Yeah, that's the most bottom of the barrel scraping
minuscule
basic,
shit.
The most basic. Everyone can relate to this emotional tie, and if you can't even understand that, well then like,
come on, man.
I don't know.
You're cooked.
Try to have more media literacy and realize that the author might be trying to like portray emotion. They're not just appealing to your power fantasy. The character you're watching is not just meant to be someone you can project yourself onto all of the time. I mean, with fucking solo leveling, like a lot of shit is power fantasy. That
I just use that as an example because like a lot of basic motherfuckers, they can understand a solo leveling reference because like it's so generic, right?
I mean, a lot of people think that solo leveling references are unique to solo leveling.
No, yeah, I mean, but like it's like something that a lot of people are watching right
Yeah.
now, and like a lot of people who I'm not gonna talk shit, you know, but like there's a lot of people who mostly watch anime for like the Sakuga and like the
The cool
very
shit.
easy to
The
understand
flashy,
shit. Yeah,
turn my head off.
like you don't need to really understand it that deeply to get what's happening, and it's like
I mean,
sure everybody can have that shit, but
I mean, I was telling you, like, the amount of times I see in other media, like a Jeju Island, like a Beru arc, where there's like those ants.
you mean fucking Chimera Ant Art?
Exactly.
Recycle.
People will be like,
oh my
oh my god,
dude.
so leveling's influence. And I'm like, nah. So leveling took that from Hunter.
Yeah,
And cool, so leveling. But like, if you don't know where it's from, and you're taking that, I mean, I think solo leveling is dope. I think it's
cool.
It's enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
cool. There is not much depth to it, and that's fine.
After a while, like I mean, it was like okay, I don't want to make this about solo leveling, so like we'll be wrapping this up shortly.
It was never trying to be that deep thing. It was cool.
It was a nice read, and then once I got towards the end, I was like, it's not really doing like a lot of the shit.
It was just
But,
always
like,
trying to be cool and not deep.
Yeah,
But I think that to
like
wrap
nice
it
to
back,
look at, I guess.
I think that ReZero does a lot of things that I hope that people will notice, but I know a lot of people might not.
Yeah,
Maybe it's something that they will watch later on and come back to and realize.
Oh yeah, most
Because
definitely.
a lot of people might be in the younger age range where not at that point of our lives, but there's a lot of things that are not as noticeable because they're not spelling it out for you. It's written like actual people, and so when you see these things, you might think, "Oh, that's dope. Oh yeah, he did the best thing possible." But there's an amount of understanding and maturity that you as the reader are expected, or not expected, but if you have, you will interpret the media differently because you can realize that the characters, even if they're saying they're not even saying, they show like positive outcomes, but they're never telling you that they're right. Or that this was the best outcome, that they're perfect.
Yeah, it's not. It's easily not black and white.
Yeah,
it's like super.
And so
super great.
it's up to the viewer. I think that it'll be one of those pieces of media that, a lot of them. I've talked to you about some of them.
Yeah.
That they change as you grow because you can see other messages.
100%.
And I mean, in the end of the day, every piece of media is an expression of some extent of the author's life and experience and certain things that they believe in and they know. So as you grow, you might experience certain things that make some messages impact you harder.
Hit different.
Even if you've seen them before, when you rewatch them with context of your own life, they'll be different. And Tape is older than both of us, so he has
not by that much though. Tape's only like in his 30s.
Yeah, but like he has different experiences. He has his own life.
Right.
So
no, I'm just glad my boy's young as shit.
Like his own life, some of the things that he's put into writing, maybe we haven't experienced yet, and we'll know them. Maybe some of the things that we've experienced, maybe if you're watching, you might share the same sentiment of seeing other people commenting
on certain things.
Yeah, or maybe you're in the demographic, and it's not a shameful thing, it's just a part of life of just media changes, good media changes as you get older because you rewatch it and you understand different things. I think ReZero has a lot of those of like, me from like, even 5 years ago, some of the same things I would not have had context for, or even been, in some cases, sympathetic, other cases, empathetic of, like, I haven't been through this, but I can understand it.
Right.
I can understand how it could affect someone. And in some other cases, just sympathetic of, like, yeah, no, I actually know exactly how this feels. But a younger me would not have been able to see that or feel that. Mainly see that of just, like, I think a younger me, honestly, wouldn't have been able to call Subaru out for a lot of the things that I see him doing wrong, or I view as immature in Season 3. But I don't get annoyed with that as I do in Season 1, because it's immature in a way that's a lot more like, yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so I'll ask you this, right?
Immature doesn't mean bad, it just means
No,
inexperience.
Sure.
Everyone is immature in some aspect.
So, of course. So, what I'll ask you is, do you think a you from last week would be very different from you right now?
For 1 week, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I think
So-
I'd probably be roughly the same.
So, how long would it take for you to be like, all right, like how far back would it be like, all right, so
4 months.
4 months, like, so you
Yeah.
from 4 months ago would be such a different you from right now.
I don't know about such a different me, but I think different enough to where the me right now could say things that the me 4 months ago would need to have heard. Yeah.
All right, now, here's what here's like my follow up, right? If a you from, let's say, like 5 years ago were to only hear about the things that the you of today have done, the you that exists right now for everybody else, if someone were to go back in time and be like, hey, Rafe did this, like Rafe was this person,
I would first the person that goes back, first thing you do, smack the shit out of.
Wait, no, that's not.
5 years ago, go back,
No, wait.
give him a smack before you tell him whatever you're
that's not
doing.
what-
Fucking front hand, backhand.
No, same, but like
Maybe
that's not what I mean.
1,
right?
2, give him a knee,
So, do you think that like the
calf kick.
oh my god, do you think that the development that you have had from 5 years ago till now would shock or surprise your past self into thinking like, man, how the fuck did I ever do any of this shit? And if so,
yeah, no, I don't think that the me from 5 years ago would be able to even if you just told them some of the relationships I had with some of my friends, would not understand it, and also just the experiences that I hadn't been through. It'd be something you could tell me, but if you haven't been through those at that time, like
you wouldn't really know.
You couldn't process them, and then you could like hear them be like, "Oh, damn, that's tough." Like, yeah, I'll do this moving forward, but like,
you don't really know why. Like, you don't know
yeah,
the why
that's
behind
how
the
much
what.
experiencing it is more of a catalyst for change. So I don't think that me from 5 years ago, even if I told them a lot of things, I don't think that they'd be able to understand and absorb them.
Because the reason why I say that is because I think that would be an interesting way to show your growth, right? Because if you, for better or worse, you could be a worse person now than you were like 5 years ago. But like, it's not about if you've gotten better or worse. It's just that you are different. Like, there's a certain amount of time that would go by that you can objectively say these are two different versions of yourself.
Yeah, and I think the main point is, at least for me, is just thinking I'm happy with myself. And I mean, we've gotten very off topic. But like,
Yeah.
I'm happy with myself. And also, I think, this is like a metric for myself. I try to think, if me in a few years thinks back on what I'm doing now, would they find it cringe? Would they find themselves cringe? And I think that for the last couple of years, like the last 2 years, 1.5, 2 years, I can confidently say that I don't think in the future I will look back at myself and go, damn, like I'm not happy with who I was, or I'm not proud of that, or I'm like really cringe. I think I'll be able to look back at myself right now and be like, you know what? He was alright.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, where like right now, I think like me like 3 years ago, I'd be like, ooh, I'd rock the shit out of
No,
you.
dude, I feel look,
bro,
same,
like
same,
five,
bro.
even like 5 years ago. Ooh, it's on site with you. Like I don't even
No,
need to hear you speak. I already know who you are.
and that's
You are
character
me.
development. But all
Like,
right,
yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up here because like we go so much longer, chat.
Yeah,
Like,
some of
it's-
this might have to get
like,
edited
no,
out. Like that whole
no,
last like 5 minutes was just us talking bullshit.
No, I mean like honestly,
I
like,
didn't relate to the topic. I mean,
but it's cool. So this has been like I didn't even know this was gonna turn into this. Like I just wanted to get his opinions about one thing, but it ended up like
Yeah, like,
like
what
we
we
do
started
this
off-
very often.
what we started
like,
off talking about was about the starting of that recording. It's been an hour 15 minutes. God
Yeah.
damn.
No, right? And like so
I mean, we talked shit for years.
no,
but-
we always like, which I love. Like you guys don't understand. Like me and my boy Chaudry's like we have these types of discussions all the fucking time, and we just never record any of it unless we're doing it after a ReZero episode like last time, and that was just a taste. We paused so many times in that last recording,
Yeah, we did.
and like, dude. But anyway, so this has been your boy Shaq and Chaudry's. This has been like a very random ReZero like discussion theory, just open discussion video, honestly. Like with no real spoilers for like anime onlys. Like this doesn't have any spoilers, so like
I'm an
yeah.
anime only, so
Yeah, so, like, this
anything
is-
that I'm saying is
Yeah.
anime only, really.
Yeah. Now, if you guys did like this video, I know like the structure, like because I didn't expect to be doing this, so like I did it from my phone, and we're just kind of just like chilling in my room and just fucking. Anyway, so if you guys enjoyed this type of video, if you guys like the style of this, of course we do it with like a little bit better lighting, a little bit more of a functional like environment. Like,
Instead of just-
dude, no, we were dead ass just
got
fucking chilling, talking. I was like, let me
phone
just,
on the soju bottle.
like
right
yeah,
now.
it's just folding against a soju bottle. But anyway, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this type of video, if you want to see more types of videos like this, by all means, leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so you can stay updated for when I do make content like this. Because I love to talk about ReZero. I love to talk about like all my favorite shit. If you guys would like a podcast style,
Send him dick pics. Of
hey,
you
no,
to
you're gonna
DM him
none of that,
those.
no, you're fine. So if you guys want to see
preferably
more
unstructured.
podcast, no, if you guys want to see more podcasty type
Preference.
of videos like this, let me know in the comments, because like
Smaller the better.
I'll basically say
Obviously,
this is
that's
like
okay.
a mini podcast, even though it was very much unscripted, off the go.
Some
Anyway,
small uncut
look, all right.
penis pictures to him.
I love you guys. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Until next time, peace.